Meanwhile, Donald Trump says he has no plans to talk to billionaire Elon Musk following their public feud. Speaking on board Air Force One, the U.S. leader said he was not particularly interested in speaking to Musk, dismissing reports of a planned phone call to reconcile things. He threatened again to review government contracts with Musk's businesses, which include SpaceX and satellite company Starlink. The extremely influential men fell out after Musk criticized the president's big, beautiful bill, which will see a surge in state spending. More on this from Tyson Barker, a non-resident senior fellow with the Atlantic Council's Europe Center. So we've had the breakup, Tyson, and it doesn't appear a makeup lies anywhere near on the horizon. Or do you have any reason to expect reconciliation anytime soon?
Well, I think we're talking about two people who really thrive on drama, both of them, and we have decades-long evidence and histories on both that show that, grabbing the attention economy is something that they are both well-versed in. But I think that both structurally have an interest in reconciling and realigning. One thing to note is the difference in rhetoric between the two. Elon Musk's rhetoric has been extremely hostile and personal toward Donald Trump and has been rooted in somewhat contradictory critiques, at least that's the interpretation, on the big, beautiful bill, which is essentially a tax cut bill, whether or not it would reduce the deficit and debt, which has already been scored not to be the case, or it would cut EV subsidies, which it would do. So it's unclear where the critique comes from, but it's deeply personal. On Trump's side, the attacks have been rather muted, and if you look, it's much more muted than the kind of personal attacks that he has on, say, Democratic opponents or even Republican opponents who don't have that level of net wealth that Elon Musk has. So I think that generally, there will be probably a moment where there is a reconciliation. Both sides' camps are structurally trying to align that to take place, but it's hard to predict.
Could there be real political implications here? The Republicans are in damage control.
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans are walking on a knife's edge to try to get this bill through the Senate, and then it will need to be reconciled with the House again. It passed by one vote in the House. So clearly, it is a divisive piece of legislation. So they're trying to preserve their coalition, and anything that rocks the coalition could be damaging to this process. However, what we're seeing is basically the Republicans consolidating their support behind President Trump. And I think that will continue. I mean, President Trump has really consolidated the Republican Party as a party based in him and his personality. So I don't think that there is any kind of attack within the Republican Party that Musk could levy that would really break the ultimate outcome, which is this bill's passage in some form or another.
Tyson, Trump is the president of the United States, of course, the so-called leader of the free world. But this rift, in any way, I wonder, could it become a liability for him? Could that be the reason why we're seeing, as you put it, a muted response from him?
Well, I think if people read into this correctly, it shows a lot about Trump's general worldview and view of governance, which is that those with peer or near peer net wealth to him are the ones that he is willing to seek counsel from. And when they break, he's much more interested in tending to reconcile those relationships. So if you look at, for example, the people operating his foreign policy, it's Scott Bessent, it's Steve Witkoff, the billionaire special representative to the Middle East, who also seems to be negotiating with the Russians. It's Howard Lutnick, who's doing all the work on the tech policy and a lot on trade at the Commerce Department, and a coterie of billionaire ambassadors globally. These are the people he listens to, and clearly these are the relationships that he wants to preserve, and that actually maps pretty well onto his relationships abroad as well with people like Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Viktor Orban, and others.
You talked about his relationships abroad. We only have half a minute, but looking ahead, what effects might this have on U.S.-European relations, given Musk's global business interests and, of course, Trump's policy priorities? What, if anything, should Europe be watching for?
Well, I mean, first of all, the brand damage that Elon Musk has done to his empire, his business empire in Europe, is pretty substantial, and I don't know if that is recoverable. Tesla sales are way down. All countries in Europe and elsewhere are reviewing contracts on Starlink to make sure that this is going to be consistent and not too erratic. But I
Mm.
think ultimately this is more of a Musk story than a Trump story because Musk has demonstrated himself in the past few years to be somewhat erratic. And that is difficult to do business with government contractors where they really rely on certainty and stability.
Tyson Barker, many, many thanks.
Thank you.